Alright, so this is my first scope, and I asked a bunch of people what I should talk about. And I only got two things, one good, one kind of good. And we'll see how many people log in. And if you're watching now, it says one. I guess that's me. I'm my own best friend. Anyone out there? Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Bueller? Probably don't even have this set up right. Hey, Caps Girl, you are my first guest on my very first scope. And it's my daily drive home. Senior advisor, thanks for joining. I'm not driving yet, that's why I'm looking at the screen. But I just wanted to try out a new scope and see how it goes. First scope ever, and I'm already getting 4 more people than I thought I would get. So this is doing pretty good. I'm breaking a record with every new person. Yes, well, there was a couple different things I asked before. I haven't started driving yet. I'm still sitting in the parking lot at work. My boss told me head home because the 4th of July weekend, the traffic on the highway is already backed up, and Waze says it's going to take me 40 minutes to get home, which means I'm all by myself in my car, and we're going to head on down the road here. Normally on a good day, it only takes me 15 minutes to get home. Waze is saying 40 minutes today. I had a couple people tell me that if I were to do a scope on the drive home, what would they want to see? And they said that it would either be safe driving tips, or it would be how to de-stress from a day at work. Here's a little bit of music. I have no idea what we're listening to. I'm not a DJ. So let's get this show on the road. First thing about safe driving is don't scope and drive. So I won't be looking at the screen very much while I head on out of here. But there is one thing about safe driving that everyone says. Did you know that 90% of people that are driving admit to texting and driving? But almost everyone says that texting and driving is dangerous. Do I have gas? That is also a great question. And right now I am in less than a quarter tank of gas, but my thing says I got 37 miles to empty. We're only going about 9 miles, even though it's going to take us about 40 minutes. And I know I saw someone say, watch out for children crossing the road. There is a little trick that I like to do when I'm driving through very populated areas, is I will actually look under the cars that are on the side of the road. And you can see the little feet coming across. And I have actually seen kids, or even moose, or even deer, or other large animals coming out into the road before the people driving in front of me. So that's a great little bit of advice. The other thing is, if you have a tendency to want to, or that you're bored, find something to do that's outside of the vehicle. With my kids, we play the alphabet game. But when I'm by myself, I made up my own game. There's several different games you can play on the road, but everything you want to do is to be outside of the vehicle while you're driving home. That way you don't have any excuses of missing anything that's outside of the vehicle. So you put your phone down. I hand my phone to my wife or to my kid if they're sitting in the passenger seat, and I let them text for me. Or, because I have an iPhone, I will use Siri. Me and Siri are really good friends. We get along with each other on a really great level, and I've learned how to communicate with Siri, sometimes better than with my own wife and kids. But it's a different technology. You got to learn how to use that. But when you are driving by yourself and you need to de-stress, a little game that I play is see how many people you can pass safely, and then count that number up. And I've made my own little rules and things like that on how you can get a point. Like if someone's turning in front of you, once they put their blinker on, they don't count as a point. All kinds of crazy things. But But so far, traffic, I'm doing really good here. The Waze said it was going to be a 40-minute drive. So now that I say that, I'm going to go around the next corner and there'll be traffic. It's usually how it goes, right? So what kind of commute times do you guys get when you're heading home from work? If you take the daily drive. Ooh, hey, don't tell my wife. Love you, babe. There are, normally I get a 15-minute commute. Sometimes there are longer trips. I had to drive up to Fairfax once or twice for classes, and I left 2 hours early and was almost late, even though Waze said it was only going to be a 20-minute drive. So it takes you 10 minutes to get downstairs, right? So I've got 10 seconds, yeah. I've got 5 viewers, which is 6 more than I thought I'd have. So we're doing, here's the traffic. Yeah, coming around the corner, just like I said. Another thing when you're watching traffic, I actually taught my wife how to drive, because we were kind of seeing each other when she was 16. And one of the things I always told her was, it's just as important to watch your side of the road as it is to watch the other side of the road. So if you're driving, always pay attention to every vehicle out on the road, and be alert. Look through, like the vehicle that's in front of me right now, I can see through their whole car to the vehicle in front of them. And I started pushing on my brakes before the person in front of me did, because I saw the brake lights come on in the car in front of the car in front of me. So 2 cars up, I'm paying attention. Cars coming the other way, they can come into your lane almost immediately. And so you have to pay attention to that too. But I think it's said over and over and over again, don't text and drive. That's the biggest thing. And I don't text and drive. I've FaceTimed my wife on the way home, or I've talked on speakerphone, I've talked to friends and family, but I don't tap with my fingers a text on the phone while I'm driving. I will use Siri for that. Let's see, what was the other thing I was told? How to de-stress from a day at work. Shoot something. That's always fun to do. I don't know who's into guns or not, but one job that I used to work was help desk, which can be very, very stressful. And me and a friend took a computer out to the firing range, and we put 22 shells into it. We put 38s, 44s, and we just blew the snot out of this computer. But what was cool was I actually got to take it with me to display it at a newcomer orientation, and we put a sign on it over it that said, before you do this to your computer, bring it to us and we'll fix it for you. And it was an Army installation for newcomers at Army Post, and so they would, they're all gun-ho, and they would just they would just go crazy over that and talk about guns and things like that. So de-stressing, that's one way, is if, safely go fire a weapon. Always be safe with your firearms. Be educated with your firearms if you would choose that route. Pick something that reminds you of the day, like I did was the computer. Whatever your job is, if you're a chef and you need to unwind, take some food out and shoot the food, man. Be a Gallagher. Take a hammer to it. If you're a mechanic, take a car part out and shoot it. Whatever your job is, I'm sure there's something that you would like to go shoot. But I'm not saying that shooting is for everyone. So I'm not saying that everyone should go out and shoot something, because I come from the town that makes going postal popular, the big old Detroit, and so you don't want to just go out and just shoot just because you want to shoot. But if you need to de-stress and you are safe about it, just about anything can be a de-stressor. I don't know, there's a couple different ways you can de-stress. So let me hear something, and because we're not going very fast, so I can glance down at my phone when I come to a stop. And if there's a particular thing, what's on your guys' mind? I don't know. Again, this is my first scope, and we're breaking records every time someone pops in. A record, well, I had 5. There we go. Now I got 5 again. And so 5, that's a big number. Hey, Roush. Roush, 83. I also used to do commentary for a hockey team, so sometimes I will mispronounce names on purpose. No offense, it's just something fun to do, especially when you have crazy names. Makes it even more enjoyable. So we're sitting here in traffic, and it still says that I've got about 25 minutes to get home and 35 miles to empty. It should tell you minutes. You know, I mean, cars are smart enough nowadays that it should tell you minutes to empty. Smoke a joint and it's all good in the hood. Well, I am one of the very few people in the world who have never smoked any kind of drug. I've never drunken any kind of alcohol. I've never smoked cigarettes, and I'm 40 years old with a wife and 3 awesome kids. So while I won't be going out and smoking a joint, what's interesting is that when I was younger, I actually helped grow marijuana in the crawl space of our house. Not proud of it, but I was just a kid and doing what my parent told me to do. Anyway, so that won't be me smoking the joint, but that is one way that some people will unwind. I don't know how, especially like people that smoke. They say they go smoke to unwind or to relax. They say it makes me calm. It's like, well, you're outside at work and it's 20 degrees and you're standing outside going, oh, it makes me calm. That doesn't make you calm. If anything, it gives you hypothermia. I don't know. For me, I'd rather look outside and go, look at those guys smoking. Doesn't calm me down. Although I guess if it gets you out of 15 minutes of work, then I guess that might calm me down too. Speaking of smoking, what about this vape that's going on? Where it's like it's not really smoking, but it's the feeling of. How many of you guys have vape? All 3 of us. You know, it's probably just like my wife, and I guess I'm one, and then someone who's really bored and watching me. But when I get down to like one person, I'm just not going to talk. Traffic seems to be going pretty good, actually. I might get home sooner than I expected and ease all of your tortures. That's what's weird about Periscope, is that you voluntarily torture yourself to watch some guy. So if you're watching, then you have voluntarily decided that my puns on the drive home are worth your time. I haven't done any puns yet. Well, I guess I did. Oh well. Sorry. Coming up to red lights. Anything else? I mean, there's I think 2 of you, because I think you, if you're watching yourself, is 1. And then there's 2 other people. Say hi to me. No say hi, no say hi. So when you're in traffic, I can never really fully understand traffic. For example, I'm in the left-hand lane and the right-hand lane is going quicker than I'm going. And it doesn't make sense to me how that happens, because the right-hand lane should be the people that are exiting the road. The left-hand lane should be the people that are just trucking on through. Yet, in this particular instance, I'm in the left-hand lane watching people go by me on the right-hand side, and the person in front of me is waving their arms at the person in front of them and cussing at them. In traffic lights. If you know you're not going to make it through the light to the other side of the light because the traffic is backed up, don't go through. Okay, so see, now I'm down to 1 and it's just me. Hey, Ryan Sooner, you are my second person to join. We're breaking records here. I'm on my daily commute, but I'm stuck in traffic, giving me a little bit more time to torture people who want to watch some guy drive home. We've been talking about, I've actually had a few other people that have left, so you're a brand new person. I can use all my material all over on you, dude. 9, yes, that's why I'm actually on 1, going southbound on 1, because 95 was a parking lot. And I'm new to this area. We've only been here about 2 years, and so to see this much traffic is crazy. We just moved here from North Pole, Alaska, well, 2 years ago now. And so to see this much traffic, even on 95, I can see 95 from my office, and even the HOV lane is just stopped right now. So at least, even though I'm on 1, I'm moving. So are you out on 95? Or, well, obviously probably not if you're watching and typing. Hopefully you're a passenger and not doing something stupid like scoping and driving. Oh, he left. So it's just me and you, babe. I think. No, it's not. Ryan is still here. All right. HOV rates must be sky high. Yes. You know, they just finished this this extra section right here by Stafford, where it now exits at 610. The dumbest thing ever is the exit to 610. You work in DC. You know, there's one of my clients is up in DC, so I've actually gotten to go to DC a few times. I've been there been in DC less than 5 times in my entire life. And 4 times were on work, 1 time on pleasure. So I'm not used to this much traffic, for sure. In Alaska, traffic is the guy pulls in front of you, 17 car lengths ahead of you, and then you honk your horn at them, and that's considered a cutoff, and then they swear at you and wave a gun out the window. No, they don't wave guns out the window. No, because they get shot back at. More people in Alaska have guns than here. But WWE Clips, thanks for joining this torture session of me driving home. I'm commuting, just heading home. You never get used to it. That's true. If there was only some way that you could educate people on traffic on the highway, that you could tell them, idiots to the right, smart people to the left, or something along that line. Like if you're exiting at the next exit, get over. Someone asked me, they were driving, they were saying, well, how do you know when to get into the right-hand lane? And so I came up with this formula, which is for every 10 miles an hour, that's the distance. So for every 10 miles an hour would be 1/10 of a mile to your exit. So for example, if your exit is in 1 mile and you're going 65 miles an hour, then you should be getting in the right-hand lane roughly 0.6 miles before your exit, right, half a mile, if you can. And that way, the speeds that are slower, like I'm only going 20, but the speed limit here is 45, and most people go 60 when there isn't, traffic. So 45 would mean that just under a half a mile is when you would get into the right-hand lane to exit. Ryan, I'm a systems administrator. I work on several different government contracts, and I'm about to watch an accident right here in front of me. Okay, he's looking. Good. Sysadmin for several different government contracts, as well as civilian contracts. Can't go into exactly what I do on the government contracts. I'm sure you understand why. I don't work for the NSA. I'll tell you that much right now. So I'm not tracking any of your guys' stuff. The things that I do are pretty boring, really. Although I'm getting moved into innovation in my company, and I'm going to be doing some Amazon Web Services stuff, moving to the cloud. If you know anything about technology, if you're in the IT field, the hardest part about being in the IT field is picking a career track in the IT field that will have the most job security and longevity. When I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, I was trying to be like a jack of all trades. I learned PHP back in the day so that I could try to be a web developer. Figured I didn't want to be a web developer. Then I started learning how to do other types of programming languages, like what was the one I learned? Visual Basic. Started learning Visual Basic and started getting into programs, and learned I didn't want to be a programmer because everything's becoming so automated. Web developing, everything is so template driven. And anyone can go out and build a website. You could go out and build a WordPress or Joomla or a Google site or a Blogger. in like 5 minutes and make it look as good as something that would take me 100 hours to do. And so it's just not worth the fight and effort to be a web developer nowadays when there's so many templates. So I had it narrowed down to system administrator or network engineer, designing infrastructure and things like that, being a switch manager and things like that. So I started towards my CCNA. I took a really cool class, learned a lot about Cisco switches and routing. But then this really cool thing started to appear, which was virtualization. And learned how to build my own ESXi server and started playing with that. I've played with ESXi from VMware. I've played with Red Hat KVM. I've played with several different technologies of virtualization. But then I figured out, or through my company, they put me onto AWS. And it's absolutely amazing how the cloud is. And I've seen the joke where it's like, the cloud doesn't exist, it's just someone else's computer. I'm so sweet. You're gonna follow me? I didn't see the name on that, it disappeared. And I'm in traffic right now, so I can kind of glance down. Thanks for saying I'm sweet. Let my wife know that I'm sweet. That'd be great. In traffic right now. I've only got about a mile to the turn, and then there'll be even more traffic because 610 is also absurd. The daily drive normally takes me 15 minutes, and today it's supposed to take me 40, but I'm already halfway home, so I have hopes that it will not be a 40-minute drive. I left, I don't know how long is this broadcast. Is there a way to tell how long my broadcast is? This is my first scope too, guys, okay? It takes an hour, then I have to get a train for an hour to work. I am very blessed, and I will never gloat that on a clear day it takes me 15 minutes to get to work. That's the only time I'm going to gloat right there. I'm not going to go around telling people, because I've met people, some of my friends have a 3-hour ride to work. No, I was blessed. And here's the interesting thing is that we moved here and then or stayed with some friends, then got my job. So when we moved here, I didn't have a job. I didn't move here because of the job. So we moved here, then I got a job, which means that I found a job near my house rather than what most people do when they move here is find a house near their job. We did it completely backwards. So I know I'm blessed, and I really have pity on anyone who has to drive longer than 30 minutes to work. It's got to be hard on families. It's got to be hard on you. You work in London, and it's expensive in London. I can imagine. I mean, I've seen the exchange between the I guess you guys use euros or whatever over there. Between your guys' currency and ours, I've seen the exchange rates, and it's just crazy. The prices here are actually pounds. You use pounds. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. While educated, I've never been to Europe, so I'm not sure. I can tell you that in Japan they use yen because I've been to Japan. So I won't claim to know what any of the other places use. But here, no, it's definitely come to London. It's great. Yeah, you know, there's a new flight thing that I just saw a couple months ago that is going to be taken off out of Reagan International Airport, going to Iceland, and then from Iceland, it's like $100 trip to just about anywhere in Europe. And the flight from Reagan to Iceland is only like $100 or so, or something like that. I haven't seen any tickets come down. I just saw the alert that they're building that route. But if that happens, and we can get debt free, then Europe is where we're gonna visit. I would love to take my wife to the Eiffel Tower, and and just show her Europe. I'd love to take the kids there too. But London is a pretty cool. London is expensive, so we have to save up a lot, and that's a hard thing to do here in the States, is save up, because everything is pushed to spend to stimulate the economy. And I don't want to get into a political conversation here on Scope because I know I'll lose. and I'll watch my number go from 2 to 1 in a heartbeat. But it's so hard to save money here. But if I could save up and be able to get to London, I've had a friend of mine from high school went to London, or went to somewhere in Europe, you know, and from being from Alaska, London is as close to everything. So Orlando, I've been down to Orlando. I've never been in downtown Orlando, but we used to go vacation in Florida every couple of years when I lived with my grandparents. You know, talking with you guys actually makes the commute go a little bit faster. So I would say that would be another way, is just put someone on speed dial and talk to them on the way home, especially if you have a long commute by yourself. I have FaceTimed my wife on the way home, and that's pretty cool, because then you have a face to talk to. It's different than just sitting here talking. Of course, I can sit here and talk to myself all day long. I was a commentator for hockey for a while, and so I'm able to talk at long periods, long lengths of time about absolutely nothing to absolutely no one, which is what I expected my first scope to be, was to absolutely no one. So thank you for joining, those that you've joined, and those that are able to withstand the torture. Kudos to you. My heart's to you. Off to have dinner at 7:30 p.m. Have a lovely day at work. Actually, I'm on my way home. So I'm thinking about doing this every day on the way home, but it'll be at slightly different times because I'm leaving work early. So don't expect it to be at the exact same time every day. I'm usually going home around 3:30 to 4 o'clock. So who's left? So right now there's no one on but me. Still no one else but us. Just me, myself, and I. At least I think the number one in the bottom is me. It counts me as me. And I'm probably talking to myself. And as long as I don't answer myself, I guess that's okay. But if I were to post this afterwards, then all this silence would be wasted. So if I'm going to post this to like YouTube afterwards, I should keep talking regardless of the fact that there's only one person on. So I don't know. Safe driving stuff I was talking about earlier. Always looking ahead of the vehicle in front of you. Don't be the guy who stares in tunnel vision at the guy in front of you. Put your phone down, unlike the idiot next to me, or hand it to a co-pilot if you have another passenger in your car. Use Siri, use hands-free, use whatever technology you can. Don't text and drive. Just tick everybody else off. Lights, you can tell when the lights are going to change. You can see the sign on the right-hand side. Nowadays they have that countdown timer. Don't try to gun it to get through or risk it. Just know what the speed is. Oh, another thing is, speaking about gunning or braking, when you see a police officer, don't just slam on your brakes. A good friend of mine is a state trooper, and he said that he'll watch, and he can see when the front of the car goes down, it dives, basically, it dips down. He knows that they're slamming on their brakes, and that they saw the police officer and they slammed on their brakes. And he'll pull them over, mainly because by slamming on their brakes, they put people at risk behind them of rear-ending them. And if you see a police officer and you know you're speeding, just take your foot off the gas. Don't slam on the brake. Just take your foot off the gas. Drive cool, calm, collective. Press on through. Yeah, traffic is definitely loosened up here. I am only a few minutes from home. And I definitely made it through that last little spot 10 times quicker than I do when there's a lot of traffic. So traffic is definitely clearing up. So I had a maximum of 5 people, I think, that watched live. But I'm coming up to my final turn, and I will, if I get stopped at the light, then I will stop this broadcast. And I think I'll try to make this a daily thing on the way home. I'm not sure. I don't know why, but I guess it's to do it repeatedly, get followers. I don't know, maybe I can help someone drive better on their daily drive home or to work. Give some pointers. And looks like I'm not going to get stopped at the light. Yes, I am going to get stopped at the light. It just turned yellow. So with that, I will bid you adieu, as they say in France, I believe. I don't know. So have a great day, guys, and see you tomorrow.